Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha. Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanitrambike Gauri Narayani Namosute. Om Gunadita Aksharam Brahma Bhagavan Purushottamaha. Jano Janandidam Satyam Uchate Bhava Bandhanat. Om Bhagavate Shri Swami'S Namaha. Shri Lakshminarayanaaya Namaha. Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya. Shri Hanuman Ji Maharaj ki Jai. Dharma ki Jai ho, adharma ka nash ho, प्राणियों में सद्भावना हो, विश्व का परम कल्याण हो. नमः पार्वती पते हर हर महादेव हर. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 20th of October 2024. By the Krupa, grace of Bhagwan Shankar and Mahashakti and Ganeshji, Shiv Parivar, and Adi Jagat Guru Shankaracharya Ji Maharaj and all the other great sages, we have been able to continue our exposition and exploration of Shri Vivek Chudamani. I'd like to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Paramatma, residing in the heart of every being at all times in every situation. We are studying Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya means that wisdom, that knowledge, that awareness of the Brahman. Brahman is a word that is used in the Upanishads. Brahman means vast, infinite, unending reality or consciousness. To access that extraordinary truth and to be liberated from ajnan, from ignorance, from pain, suffering, and the cycle of birth and death, the problem of vasanas remains. Vasana is the internal desire structure, the potency of desires to run after the Panch Vishayas. As we have been examining these ideas in multiple ways, today I want to go a bit further. In the poem that Sadguru Nishkulanand Ji has written, Nishkulanand Swami, he was one of the big paramahansas of Bhagavan Shri Swaminarayan. It's a long history and long tradition, which I won't go into right now, but we're looking at the verse here on the screen. And we're looking at the actual poem. It is in Gujarati. And this is the entire poem. It begins here. Tyagana take vairagya vina kariye koti upayji. And it ends here. Nishkulananda e nar. The ending is down here. Nishkulananda e narano vana samjo vairagya ji. Some of the words are in older Gujarati. I have actually been able to pull some of the research behind this. And it's pretty extensive. There's already 47 pages of research on this. It'll turn into 200-300 pages on this easily. There are many, many, many dimensions behind every single word in the more modern understanding as well as in terms of the connection with scripture. So this is the kind of research we're working on. You can see it on the screen here, where you've got the line here in Gujarati, Antara undi je ichha rahe te kema karine tajaiji. The translation is here, and then the exposition on that is shown below. So books like this will be created in the future once I actually have time to finish them. So let's look at this line here. Antara undi je ichha rahe te kema kari tajaiji. Nishkulanand ji kya kehte? The deep desires that remain within the heart, how can they ever be relinquished? He's asking a question. And this question is of great relevance to all sadhakas. Now you can see on the screen here that there is a bit of a discussion here about the nature of deep-seated desires. The notion of desire is fundamental concept in Indian philosophy, psychology, and spirituality. In this verse, the deep-seated desire that remains within the heart, how can they be relinquished? Nishkulanand Ji addresses the profound challenge posed by entrenched desires that persist in the deepest layers of consciousness. This is correctly written here. I've done my research on this to modify some of the language. Through the assistance of many of the AI programs, we've been able to really pull a lot of ideas, cross-connect ideas, and then I can modify them further. And the purpose behind it is that we can contemplate. Otherwise, to do 47 pages like this, it would have taken me 8 months to do this. So you can see how these tools are extremely useful for our contemplative purposes here. Now let's look at this carefully. It's really quite interesting. See, Nishkulanand Ji is exactly saying this, that any sadhak has a profound challenge in front of them that is posed by entrenched desires that persist in the deepest layers of consciousness. Isn't that so? This is the fact. This is an unflinching fact. So, in a more technical sense, the question that Nishkulanand Swami poses invites a multifaceted analysis that intersects metaphysical, psychological, and ethical dimensions of human existence. Now we're going to open that up carefully, because there are all three. There's the psychological, the ethical, and the metaphysical. What are they? Psychological is our experience. Sachin has desires, somebody has desires. We have desires of all kinds. See in Gujarati is here, Antara undi je ichha rahe. Even though externally the renunciation, tyaga is there, left of so many things. Even maybe have become a sannyasi, maybe has become a tyagi, those kinds of things. Or we have put restrictions on sense experience. But the desire for the experience, the experience of enjoyment, bhoga, that comes about due to the interaction between the me and the object, the desire, for the object or the situation, circumstance, the objects, that experience, he's asking the question, how can we leave the desire for the experience? It's a question he's asking in the very first line. This is amazing. And by the way, just letting you know, there are scholars in Gujarat that have done PhDs on Nishkulanand Swami's works. Bhakta Chintamani, Bhakti Nidhi, Nishkulanand ka bhi itna isme gahan rahasya hai. Even general Hindu community has no idea that these scriptures exist, because it's restricted to that one sampradaya, and then we're trying to bring it out. It's difficult to bring it out like that, it doesn't happen. But in time it will. That's why we're making these recordings, and kuch seva karenge iske liye, because it's bahut amazing baat hai. Just that one line has so much depth within it. The 25 pages of commentary are on this one line in this document that you're seeing. So the question here is that there is a psychological dimension to the question of ichha. Antar undi je ichha rahe te kema karine tajaya. Tajaya, see, the word tajaya means the relinquishing of the deep-seated, entrenched desires that are hidden inside the depths of the mind, within the deepest layers of consciousness. Amazing. Now, multiple questions come about. Why should anyone relinquish these desires? Let's stick to that question, then we'll stop in a few minutes, because I have to end early today because of the event that I have to go to. Why should anyone relinquish desire? People have said to me over the years, Sachin, yeah, you're talking about all these spiritual things, the spirituality and some, but it's like life mein kuch ras hi nahi rehta. If you just let go of your desires for the objects of the senses, जीवन में कुछ रस रहेगा? Restaurants and dance parties and all kinds of relationships and this and that. इसी को ही तो जीवन कहते हैं. Look at Bollywood films and all that, dancing, 50 guys are dancing around one girl, who's dancing in the center. Right? Isn't that, what is all this? ये प्रकृति का खेल है. So if somebody says that, why should I give up my desires? Because if there's no desire left, there's no life left. Isn't that true? It's very interesting. So there is an answer to this question in Vachanamrut. Shriji Maharaj has given a phenomenal answer to this question. He said that if you relinquish all desires, including the desire for God, the desire to please God, Bhagwan ke saath jo sambandh bhajan bhakti mein jo sukh hai. If you say, I don't want any desire, the mind degrades into tamas, Tamas, tamogun. Total. That's what happens when people are high on drugs. When somebody takes heroin or they take, when they get some experience that they're looking for, and then their mind, the brain and the mind shift into tamogun. Koi activity nahi rehti. What, is that enlightenment? Of course not. Is that the goal? Of course not. That means that desire has a purpose. Even when Nishkulanand Ji is saying, how can desire be relinquished? It doesn't mean that desire is destroyed. Relinquishing desire is not the destruction of desire. See, this is why you can do a PhD on this one pad. Gandhiji studied this particular poem. And many other scholars have studied this for a long time. And it's just amazing. But there's no expositions in English on this anywhere. Some few talks are there here and there in Gujarati. Some Swami'S sadhus have put some material a little bit together, not too much. Is par to literally you can get a PhD on this poem only. Itna isme, I have, like I showed you, 47 pages of research. It'll turn into 200-300 pages by the time I'm through with this to really pull this thing out. It's not about, it's about really showing the power of Shankaracharya Ji's words in connection to all these other corollary ideas. So it's so interesting that relinquishing desire is not the destruction of desire. And it's also not the fighting with desire. Because if you start to fight with it, it will strengthen further. For sure. That's what happens in life. You said, I don't want to have these desires, so I'm going to fight with them. You fight with them, they will get stronger only. That is not the answer. That is not the way to transmute desire. Now, you'll see the word, I'm using the word transmute. That word transmute is what Bhagwan Sri Krishna Paramatma, in Sachin's commentary only, is talking about param drushtva nivartate. वो जो स्थिति जो है, that state of realization of param drushtva, to get to that point, the desires, ichha and the ichha shakti inside gets transmuted. हमारे में जो अहंकार है, विषयों के साथ हमारा अहंकार है, that's the problem. The Vishayas within a healthy range and boundary are not, they are needed in life. That is life. Nobody can deny that is life. And the original question which I asked, if you don't just relinquish all desire, what will happen? You'll become tamsik only. So the answer Bhagwan Swaminarayan gave. Maharaj ne kya uttar diya? He said, yes, you can get to that point where all the material desires are, you have gone beyond them. You're not suppressing them. You've just seen beyond it. A range of experience remains. But one desire, you have to keep active. In Vachanamrut ka Siddhanta, somebody might think of it, Buddhists might think in a different way. But that's all right. But Vachanamrut ka Siddhanta aisa hai, एक इच्छा रखनी जीवन में, और वो है भगवान को प्रसन्न करना, भगवान के साथ जो संबंध रखना, connecting with God, connecting with it's a loving relationship with Paramatma, or to please God, not that you just want something from God, but just to be in communion with God. So that is where bhajan, bhakti, manan, chintan, seva, scriptural readings, whatever we are doing, then life takes a dimensional jump into a transmutated state of desire. इच्छाओं का परिवर्तन, in Gujarati we say, इच्छानु परिवर्तन થઈ જાય, પ્રકૃતિનું પરિવર્તન થઈ જાય. These are words that are used in the satsang. Parivartan means transformation. There's a beautiful analogy of iyal bhambri nu vachanamrut. It's the caterpillar that goes into the butterfly stage, right? Like this, the transformation from one state to another. The caterpillar, in one sense, is destroyed, but it's not destroyed. It's changing. It's opening its potency to its full blossoming into a butterfly, like a seed that blossoms ultimately into a tree. Into a flower, into multiple rose flowers. You plant one seed, in the ground, a rose seed, and eventually the tree grows, and then there's these beautiful rose buds, and then from there they open up and there's a flower. So similarly, the ichha that is inside of us, we have so many desires. Yes. Kitni ichha hai, iska koi ant nahi. So then people have said, I have so many desires, let me cut them off. You try to cut them off, they're going to grow. You use the analogy of a tree. You cut off the branches. The more you cut those branches, the more they are going to grow only. You cannot cut off desires. That's the question he's asking here. And see, this is a completely internal journey to discover the nature of desires, ichha. And then also to realize that ichha has a place. If ichha is not there, if vasana is not there, it cannot be transmuted. It has to be there for it to be transmuted. There's no birth, there's no human body that can be obtained unless there is vasana. Vasana ka bhi mahima hai. As ridiculous as that might sound. Everybody is always thinking vasana se par ho ja, vasana ko chhod do, ye chhod do. True, no doubt, that is also true. But that has to be there first. If it's not there, how you cannot get into a higher realization? This is the play of Maya. In Maya ka bada khel hai. You see, so when a sadhak has this realization that my desires are causing an affliction and they are deeply embedded inside my mind, and they're just keeping me trapped inside a circular pattern. इसी को ही संसार चक्र कहते हैं. And the person is living in the sansar chakra. But there's a realization that all of this wanting the experiences of the Panch Vishayas beyond a functional good range and also beyond the range of connection with Paramatma, that wanting is going to entrap the individual inside the sansara chakra. Yes, Janam Maran ka chakra. One gets stuck inside the sansara chakra. My God, that's unbelievable. And you've heard me talk about this many times, because it has to be reminded every single day that it is the goal to come out of the sansara chakra. First, there has to be the acceptance, shraddha, in the words of all the Santa Parampara, that there is sansara chakra, there is punarjanma, there is life and death cycle. And the movement in different yonis based on the jivatmas. If the consciousness degrades, it goes into the animal kingdom, become a squirrel or a dog or a cat or whatever, or a mouse, or these animals are there, right? Tigers and lions, and depending on the quality of the mind, that kind of body is obtained. Ye sharir it is a mechanism, but manushya sharir is so extraordinary that there is the possibility, the capacity to evolve the Atma out of the sansara chakra. Shankaracharya ji has stated many times, if we do not realize this, we are committing suicide again and again and again and again by getting stuck again and again and again. And it just goes on for millions of lifetimes. Itni badi baat hai ye. And why these extreme importance of keeping attention on the Paramatma, param dushtva nivartate. When a person's attention goes to the Paramatma without deviation, that is the extraordinary journey towards God, which most people never take. Very few. In the Gita itself is written, out of millions somebody might try. Take a million like that, one person might make some progress. Why is it so rare? It's because its significance is not in our minds. In Vachanamrut, Garada Ante number 2, Maharaj says, कि जगतनु प्रधानपणु रहा करे छे, meaning that the feeling that this worldly experience is the be all, is the be all. सब कुछ ये सब जगत ही है, and so much fixation in the worldly experience, and that fixation is preventing the development of vairagyam, which is a support for bhakti. And that's why Nishkulanand Swami is writing this poem. Tyaga na take re vairagya vina kariye koti upaye ji. Because why is vairagya needed? Vairagya doesn't mean depression, it doesn't mean running away. It is this internal evolution beyond the polarity, beyond the pendulum of tyag and bhog. It is a transcendence of that pendulum, of that oscillation. That to study that oscillation, there are thousands of research articles in neurology and psychology just to understand this oscillation phenomena. See how amazing. Nishkulanand Swami is not sitting with a brain scan somewhere. He's sitting in faith, in Shraddha, inside the एक kuti hai. There's a place is still there actually in Gujarat, and there's videos of that too, where he wrote all these scriptures. He's sitting in ध्यान में बैठे, महाराज का आशीर्वाद है कि आप लिखो ये सब शास्त्र, and he can see the human condition, he can see the lokas, he can see, उनको सब दिखता है, and he's sitting in one place like Vedvyas ji was sitting, like that. He's not sitting with any kind of iPhone or technology or anything like that. Paper is there and pen is there, और उनकी श्रद्धा है, उनकी निष्ठा है भगवान की, और उनका ज्ञान है, उनकी दृष्टि है, दिव्य दृष्टि, उसमें से ये सब लिखा है. Without any technology, without any computers, without any AIs, without anything, without any any fMRI scans or CAT scans or drugs taken to light up the brain, to map the brain, kuch nahi. But what he has written is beyond all those things. And uska proof hamari paas hai. Come here sometime, spend 1 month with me, I'll prove it to you. It will take 1 month to prove it. I'm just saying that, because it's a fact that and the reason is very simple. I'll close with this point. The reason is very simple. That they are evolved into the Atma. जिसको आत्मा का साक्षात्कार हो गया है, आत्मा और परमात्मा, they can see the nature of the mind. Maharaj himself is saying in Vachanamrut में, Maharaj कहते हैं that I can see the antakarana completely. We cannot see even 1% of our antakarana. Who can see the antakarana? When you are in the atmic state, that there's a realization of the drashta. This is the Vedantic realization. That, oh my God. Then the antakaran is seen as clear as day. Kitna spashta. So you don't ever get stuck inside the vortex of the problems of the antakarana. Ever. Of the sukshma sharira. Never. So Nishkulanand Swami is writing about really the obstacle, the major obstacle, that is the deficiency in vairagya, in the realization of the Atma and the Paramatma. That's what this entire poem is about. We haven't even begun the actual points he's making. We're just starting to scratch the surface of it. But that is the blessings. But it just goes to show that even someone like Mahatma Gandhi put this entire poem into his regular prayers, because he realized the great mysteries of tyag and bhog. In Gandhiji's autobiography is called The Experiments of Truth. If you have not read that, take a look at that. And he has experimented with brahmacharya. and the trouble that he had with that. It's described. Brahmacharya ka jo subject hai, we will cover that. I'm going to cover that in the Swami'S spirituality in much more detail. I've started doing it in Gujarati, but in English, I want to cover it at some point. Ke Brahmacharya hai kya? Iska mahima kya hai? It's a very confusing subject. There's a lot of confusion, and in today's world, it needs to be discussed. But anyway, in Experiments of Truth, Gandhiji has written about this. And I think this poem is even referenced inside that autobiography, if I'm not mistaken. This is the power of contemplative vision, that where am I? What is my relationship with the universe and the mysteries of the universe? Am I running blindly in the sansar, or am I walking and moving with an enlightened vision in the same sansar? Same objects. The same objects are. Sachin can watch 20 minutes of news with the eye. Try to watch it with the eyes of the great sages. And Sachin can watch it with rag, dvesh, aham, mamatva, hatred, negativity, this, that. I can also do that too. That is it. That is where satsang is not just in the temple. Yes, mandir mein hai, wo sab do that. Online we're doing also every day. But actually satsanga, sat means satya, ka jo sang, the sangha meaning the absorption in satyam internally through scriptures, gurus, mandirs, teachers, mantras, etc. That absorption inside is satsanga. It is internal. It is within. It is all 100% internal. And that is the power of the Sanatana Dharma. That is the power, the wisdom, the knowledge. जो दृष्टि है इसमें, इसका कोई तोल ही नहीं है. There's no equal in the sense that it is at such a stage of development that it can free the jivatma from all agnan. That's why the verse is there. Agnan timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurum militam mena tasmai shri gurave namaha. In the Guru Stuti, this verse comes. That the agnan and the timir means darkness, it is obliterated by the light of the Atma and the grace of Paramatma. See, this is the power of every single line that we're looking at very carefully. Iska analysis karenge, you could spend lifetimes on this. But it's a matter of realization. It's not just verbal knowledge. Verbal knowledge is available. But the question is, how much realization is there? That is everything. An ounce of realization is worth more than tons of contemplative ideas. Ideas are good. Realize sakshatkar kijiye. This is the key point. All right, so with that, let's stop here for now. Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mokshamulam Gurur Krupa Tameva Mata Chapita Tameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tameva Vidya Dravinam Tameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Divalingaya Namaha Urdhvalingaya Namaha Chandraya Namaha Suryaya Namaha Om Nakshatra Vigramate Namaha Om Kalakandakataya Namaha Om Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Om Aim Rim Glim Chamundaye Viche Sarvamangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanyatrambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Om Hrim Swaha Om Shri Durga Arpanamastu Om Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu.